Howdy folks, I'm going to do a video today comparing my 1851 Navy by Pietta to the 1860 Army by Pietta. These are the only two cap and ball revolvers that I own. The shooting portion of this video I filmed a few weeks ago. I started out just wanting to shoot my guns, and then I decided why not do a comparison video since I was shooting both of them. But they both load exactly the same, which I think I showed that in the video. Using paper cartridges, you can load it loose powder and ball too. This is 44 caliber. The Navy is 36. The loading port for this is a little tighter on the Army than it is on the Navy. The grips, if the camera's picking it up, on this Army are sticking over a little, where the fit on the Navy is flush. I mean, you can barely tell where it transitions from metal to wood. On the back, it's absolutely perfect. Other than that, they're not a whole lot different. The loading lever on this one is a little stiff, which could be, it's get loosened up quite a bit since I bought it. I could go in there and try to file down some stuff maybe and clean that up, but I figured it would break itself in eventually. So yeah, not a whole lot of difference as far as like upkeep. You knock the wedge out with a punch, or some of them you can just use a hammer, but typically I just use a punch and just whack them out. You got to have them up on something a little bit and just hit that and get them out, and then the barrel comes off. Then you can remove the cylinder and get to everything, and then take out the rest of the screws in a certain sequence and do the internals. Almost exactly the same as far as cleaning and maintenance go. So anyway, that's just kind of my take. Like I think I said in the shooting video, like I said, that was a couple weeks ago since I filmed it, but I would recommend the Navy first probably. It's a little bit easier to load because of the bigger loading port. Obviously you can modify the Army. 36 caliber is cheaper to shoot, but the 44 is a little bit more fun. So getting a 1851 Navy and 44 caliber, even though it's not historically accurate, really could be one of the funnest cap and balls to shoot from my experience. So anyway, enjoy the shooting part of the video, and thanks for watching. Howdy folks, had my revolvers out here, cap and balls out here anyway to do a different video, so I figured I'd just as well do some more shooting. I've got another camera on me. Hopefully I'm in the frame. I can't really see the lens. And I got 3 water jugs plus my regular steel target. So we're about 6 or 7 yards, 7 steps away. Got my 1851 Navy loaded up with some brand new box elder black powder, homemade. First time I've ever tried it, so I'm gonna see how it performs. Got 5 shots loaded up. I think I did 20 grains in these cartridges if I remember right, so let's see what happens. A little bit of a hang fire on that one. Bunch of holes in that jug, but it didn't blow up. But that performed really well. I'm satisfied. 1860 Army. This is not the new powder, it's something else. That was 3F Graff and Sons, those last 4 shots. The first one I think was APP. When I went to lube my cartridges, I forgot I had different ones loaded, so they ended up all mixed together. They're all like, nothing unsafe about using them in the same cylinder, but I just don't remember. I'm not sure what I'm shooting here. I know it's all like about 27 grains of powder in a round ball. But That Graff & Sons powder is a lot of fun to shoot. Some paper cartridges I made with my own tools here. I'll stand over here so you can see the loading procedure a little better. So that's what my, whoops. That's what my cartridges look like. Dipped in, it's actually coconut oil and beeswax mostly. It's an old candle my wife made that the wicks burned down and not much left of it. So she said if I wanted it for lube, I could have it. So that's what I've been using. Just melt it down and dip them in it. Seems to be working pretty good. You just load them in like that. Rotate it under the rammer. And press it home. I'm just going to do 5. I'm using homemade number 10 caps. I think I'm going to kind of do a Navy and Army comparison here since I didn't cut the camera off for the loading sequence. Usually I do, but I got to thinking I don't mind watching people load these things. I think it's fun to load them, and I think it's fun to watch people load them. So for the handful of people who feel like that, it won't annoy them. I believe one of my homemade caps fell off of that first nipple. I caught something out of the corner of my eye. The second cap. Trade that for a different one. Bad thing about homemade caps is they're a little inconsistent at times. Okay, that one's good. Now for the Navy, it's got a bigger cutout here than the Army does. Really, that should be beveled a little more. It's pretty angular. I don't have conicals, but for the round ball paper cartridges, they're definitely easier to load in the Navy than they are in the Army. These I use Guns of the West cartridge forming system, but I just put them in there, line it up, ram it down, put the next one in. I don't move the loading lever out of the cylinder, I just leave it in there. Because otherwise, if you're latching it every time, you got to unlatch it, or if you're pulling it up here, it's flopping around. So I just leave it right in that last chamber. And again, these are just with round balls. I use nitrated coffee filter paper to make the cartridges. See, I guess I need one more to get 5 here. But as you can see, a lot easier than loading loose powder, that's for sure. I was loading up a bunch of cartridges with different kinds of powder, and was gonna, like, kind of compare apples to apples with Spark and all that, and went to lube them and let them all dry on the same paper and forgot to keep them separate. Lubed them like I normally would, because usually I just use American Pioneer powder, but oh well. That just means I gotta shoot these up. That's okay. I've only got 5 in them, I'm gonna holster them. Now we'll just shoot the steel for the fun of it. Second time today I've had that happen with that gun. We'll just set that one down and shoot this one instead for a while. That has a lot more kick. I usually only shoot 25 grains. These are probably that regular Graff & Sons black powder with 30. cut the camera off and figure out what's wrong with the Navy. Alright, got that chamber cleared. Now we'll fire off the other three. Kind of windy out here today. For me, it's definitely worth my time making these paper cartridges because, as you can see, this is almost effortless compared to loose powder and ball. I load that way too, and I don't mind loading that way. It's just, if you're a little pressed for time, these paper cartridges can save you a boatload of it when you're out in the range. If I had some commercial caps, I could be using a capper. That'd save me even more time yet. Which I still have 150 of those, something like that. I'm kind of saving them for the winter time because trying to get caps on these things in the winter time when your fingers are cold, not the easiest thing I've ever done. All right. 5 loaded up in that one. So if you were gonna buy your first cap and ball revolver, what would I recommend is, I mean, I only have 2, so I can't like compare it to a new model Army or a Spiller and Burr or anything like that, but if you're trying to choose between an 1860 Army and 1851 Navy, well, the Army is a lot more powerful, so it's more fun in that respect. The Navy uses less powder and the bullets are a little cheaper, so that's something to consider. The loading of the Navy is a little easier because there's a little more room without modifying anything. I bought Piettas. I'm very satisfied with them. They're both 2024 models. This probably isn't just with 1860 Army, it just happens to be with this gun, but excuse me, the grip is a little bit too big on the bottom where the Navy is absolutely perfect. Let's see, what else is different about them while I'm loading here? Well, the grip configuration on the Army is a little harder to control, I think. It's a little bigger. It's got a little more of a steep angle. If you got big hands, the Army might be the way you'd want to go. If you're only thinking about buying one gun, they're not historically accurate, but the fun of a 44 with the feel of a Navy, I would be thinking about getting a 44 caliber Navy, or maybe if you want something that's historically accurate but a little more like a Navy, get maybe a Dance Brothers or something. I think Leach and Rigdon might kind of have that feel. But I'm not the biggest fan of the Contour right here. It's pretty comfortable, but I feel it's not as comfortable as the Navy. Like if I hadn't ever shot the Navy, I would think this was just fine. But yeah, definitely worth buying one or the other. Alright, if we can get them both to operate, because cap and ball, they're finicky. Let's see if we can fire one and then the other here. The cap didn't go off there. I'll just fire out the Navy and then shoot that. bad primer on that too. Make sure, keep your fingers behind that cylinder when you're trying to clear one like that. This one, the cap just didn't go off for some reason. Now there's a bunch of stuff in the flash hole, so just keep a nipple pick in one of my bags. All right, let's try it again. So, as you can see, one doesn't really have anything over the other as far as reliability. It's all in your components for the most part, at least with Piettas. I've had grand whopping total one cap jam with the Navy, and I've fired this thing, I've had it for almost a year, and I've fired it like, I don't know, 400 or 500 times. One cap jam, and I've had the Army since Father's Day, and it's now September 6th, and I've only ever had, well, I've never had a cap jam with that. All stock, nipples, stock, everything. And I've probably got 200 rounds or better through this one, so for me it's Pietta all the way. If Pietta don't make it, I probably won't buy it unless I really want it, like a pocket model or a Dragoon. But let's fire off the last round on the Navy. Hopefully this cap has enough oomph in it. Like I said, with these two guns, if your components function, the guns function. I've had, the only issues I ever have is like you just saw, either caps falling off or caps not having enough power, which, since I'm using homemade caps that tend to get deformed when you're seating them, that's more the cap's fault than the guns. I had CCI number 11s fit okay, but they're not great. I've never had a Remington number 10, but from what I see on other online things, those are definitely the best. But Navy or Army, I don't know. This one is cheaper to shoot and a little cheaper to buy. This one, that extra oomph is more fun, but if you want light recoil, get the Navy. But as far as just plain fun plinking, I can't really say I really enjoy one over the other. They're both a lot of fun for different reasons. But anyway, thanks for watching. Right, so see what happens. A little bit of a hang fire on that one. A bunch of holes in that jug, but it didn't blow up. That performed really well. I'm satisfied. 1860 Army. This is not the new powder, it's something else.